Yeah, it's been a few days since I posted and wanted to get another video out there. A couple of things have been on my mind, especially through some LinkedIn comments and just conversations in general. So I'll hit a couple of things in this video. One of them is going to be how my friends across the pond, especially India workers, could be largely affected uh, by the incoming AI. And we'll talk about some reasons for that. And then we'll talk about some just general ideas about customer service. And, people say, well, AI is never going to be able to do customer service better than a person. And I'll give a couple of examples that were very compelling to me. They hit me personally in January when I was at a conference, and just kind of aha moments. So if you'll stick with me, we're going to jump into this. Uh, so why do I say that our friends in India might be hit particularly hard? Well, again, we put on the lens of history and we jump back to right around 2000, 2005. And what happened is the US companies started to offshore their IT work. And at the time, you could get probably 6, maybe even 8 people from India for the price of one person in the United States. Similar jobs, similar education levels, similar skills, things like that. So it was really just a question of economics. And what we're seeing now is a cheaper labor force than our friends in India. There's a new player in town, we'll call it, a skilled resource that will work 24 hours a day, very inexpensive, and nobody, not even people in India who require a lower salary, are going to be able to compete with that. So to give an example, for a chatbot that runs 24/7, you're only paying for a few tokens per phone call. So the call centers in India, where a lot of people are employed, and their job is to answer phone calls, to read the script, to do the high-level debugging, things like that with clients. Those can now be easily moved over to voice bots. You can tag those in scripts or base those in scripts. And so you basically anchor that agent with the data that you have. And then there's ways to do escalations. So if it starts to go off a script, or if it needs an escalation, then it can move from agentic over to human. So again, I think that we're going to see disproportionate impact to our friends in India. I want to make sure that we get this out there so that all of the people that I've worked with over the years from India are aware of what's going on and potentially why they would be adversely affected. Absolutely ask questions in the comments, give me your observations, tell me if you think I'm wrong. But again, this is from many years in the IT industry. I see this trend occurring right now, and I'm wanting to get that message out to my friends all over the world. So that's one thing. Number two is I saw comments on LinkedIn today, and those comments say things like, there's no way that AI is ever going to be better at customer service than a human is. Well, maybe some cases that's true, other cases that's not as true. And so I'll give a couple of examples. My wife and I own a coffee shop, and in the time that it takes me to say, thank you for calling my coffee shop, how can I help you? An agent could have already identified the callers using caller ID. It could have already gone into our Square system. It could have already looked up the previous orders from that phone number for the last, we'll say 30 days, or the last 10 orders, whatever it is. It can spot trends immediately. Do they always order the same drink? Do they always order a particular sandwich on Tuesdays, etc.? And it can look up their points balances in the system, all in the time that it took me to just answer the phone. And if you think about this in a little bit bigger context, right, the AI agent can greet by name, can give all of that information, can give personalized recommendations, and can really just carry on like a human would, just that they have more knowledge faster than most humans. So that's one case where I see that a voice agent may actually be better than a human in that particular scenario. So let's take it a step further. Let's say I'm a salesman for a software company, and my job is to sell software. So I get a phone call, and I don't know who that person is. I don't know what products they're going to be interested in. I don't know why they're calling. If they're not in our database already, I have no clue what's going on, right? Now, let's flip the coin. Let's say an agent picks it up, and let's say the agent is trained to let the phone ring 3 times. So in the time that the phone is ringing, it identifies the company that has the number that's being called from. It identifies the company's stock ticker. It looks at the last 3 months of stock trends. It looks at industry news related to that particular company. It looks at information that's publicly available on a number of things that could be connected with the reason why that person's calling. So now the agent has that context. It picks up the call and it says, thank you for calling and how can we help you? Well, when they get the person's name, the agent could start looking at LinkedIn. It could look for public records. It could look for other information, even on the company's website, to see if that person that they're talking to is referenced and figure out who they are. And then ask contextual questions as it goes along, coupled with all the data it already has, and make a very compelling first touch phone call. Probably better than any just regular salesperson could do. There's a combination, so if you didn't want to have the agent do all of that information or the talking, you could still have a human in the loop, and you could use those agent capabilities to look up all the data, to have an understanding of who that particular client is, and then you could create a dashboard that has that information. So it's readily available for a human salesperson to utilize as they need to. And the agent could even provide more data, more context, more links, more things to the dashboard as the conversation goes along. So those are a couple of areas that I see agentic capabilities being very strong, very compelling arguments against the agents or AI will never be able to replace humans in the customer service area. Well, again, that may be true, it may not. Now, I'll give you one last example. A hotel company had a number of foreign dignitaries coming in, and those visitors did not speak the same language as the hotel staff because they're visiting from a foreign country. And so just prior to this, a voice agent had been added to the hotel in case staff were overloaded and they couldn't get to the phone. They would have it answered by a chatbot. Well, the chatbot is able to speak many languages, including Arabic, and these visitors were Arabic speaking. So during the time that those people were in the hotel staff knew that they weren't going to be able to answer their questions or speak their language, and so they just let it roll to the bot. And what they learned was that the satisfaction of the customers was so much higher with the bot that when those visitors left, they just let the bot start answering all of the calls. So there is a real world scenario where it's already proven that the agents are doing a better job than the humans at the desk. And it frees up the humans to do the personal touch for people who are walking up to the actual desk itself. So I wanted to get those out there. Apologize for not getting another video out. I actually had one recorded that I was working on some prompts and just some basic techniques in case you haven't seen those. There are other good resources on the web for that, so I will get back to that. Unfortunately, my video only recorded 2 minutes out of about a 20-minute video, so I had to cut that, and I'll have to redo that one. But I wanted to get that out there. I want you guys to keep your heads up, keep looking. Don't feel like you're immune, but don't be afraid. just know that there are capabilities. And when you hear these stories about where agents have come in, where they've been useful, start thinking along those lines. Like, how could you build those agents or those capabilities into the company you work for? And how can you add more value to services that are already being provided using the new technology? And then you can think about, uh, if you're not using it at work, how can you use it to the benefit of humanity? So start asking ChatGPT, what are the biggest problems that somebody faces, whether it's small businesses, medium businesses, pet owners, parents, whatever it is, and start contemplating, what can we do that's not going to take a lot of time for me, but a system that I can set up and I can provide value to the people around me with little to no effort, and you're likely to be able to make a profit on those. So if nothing else, you can start to pursue your passion projects. So I'll leave you with that, and I hope this was helpful for you. If it was, give me a thumbs up, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, all the things that everybody says. This channel is just getting started, so every little bit helps trend it up in the algorithms, and I'm going to try to get as much good content out there as I can to keep on the forefront of the AI evolution. And we'll talk about some more agentic things on the next one. We'll get into a little bit of prompting, just some basic things that you can try, things you might not have thought about, and I'll continue to educate you the best that I can. Thank you all.